Good evening and welcome to PBO's Patron Townhall. I'm Executive Director Abigail McKee, and it is my pleasure to spend this evening with you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us for this update on PBO and a look to the future. And this program is going to be presented in two parts. The first part, I will share a little bit about what's happened for us in the last 22 months, a little bit about what we can look forward to this spring, and then some news about what we can look toward in the coming years. For the second part, we'll be answering your questions live here from Studio Great Arts in downtown Portland. And if at any point you have questions that you'd like answered, please feel free to enter them in the chat feature of YouTube. So, 22 months ago, we began the shutdown on large gatherings because of COVID-19. I am so proud to tell you that as of now, PBO has been back in the concert hall for a few months, and we have been serving the broadest audience in our history throughout the course of this shutdown. Over the last 22 months, we presented a ton of wonderful digital content, including concerts, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But the thing I think I'm proudest of is that throughout the shutdown on large gatherings, we were able to continue serving our mission of producing intimate and historically informed performances of music composed before 1840 and a little bit beyond that. Our work kept us all fed, and I hope that it did the same for you. We are so proud to have presented incredible projects that were dreamed up by our extraordinary PBO musicians, and it was just an incredible pleasure to watch this audience grow over the course of the pandemic. I want to share a little bit of the interesting data that we gathered through this digital content. And, the thing that was the most incredible to me was looking back on the body of work that we created during the shutdown. During the COVID-19 pandemic, PBO presented an incredible 33 digital projects. That included 10 full-length PBO concerts, full-length concerts for a number of our partner organizations, education videos, and more. Through that digital media, we served nearly 154,000 viewers in 39 countries and 25 states. And while we don't know exactly who those people are, one thing that I find particularly exciting is that we achieved one of our most important strategic goals by opening the doors of period performance to a whole new generation of audience members. 60% of the digital viewing audience was under the age of 45, and this really articulated and brought to life a wish that so many of our longtime PBO patrons have been telling me during the 5 years that I have been your executive director and CEO. You keep telling me that you wish to see a broader audience served by this incredible organization. And while nothing can replace the experience of being together in the concert hall, I am so delighted to say that the surprise of COVID was that we were able to achieve a new outreach to a broad audience through this digital content. We also were able to attract many new donors and investors to our cause. And if you are one of those new supporters of PBO, we are so grateful. Thank you for your support and for joining us as part of this community. I am thrilled also to tell you that we are in excellent physical condition. We're in excellent fiscal condition as well. I've been waiting all day for that to happen. And we were able to support our general operating costs through government grants, largely through the PPP loan process, all of which were forgiven as grants, but also through a very generous donation from the CARES Act, administered by the Oregon Cultural Trust. And I want to take a moment right now to remind you that if you are a donor to any arts organization or cultural institution in Oregon, you should take a look to see if your donation is able to be matched through the Oregon Cultural Trust. It's a tax credit program. It's really interesting. Please feel free to check out their materials as well. It's an extraordinary way to make sure that more of your tax dollars go to support the arts here in the state of Oregon. For our many longtime donors, your investment in PBO throughout the shutdown went directly to the presentation of great art and great music, period. Through your support, we were able to continue bringing to life the extraordinary productions of our musicians and serve this incredibly new broad audience. Your donations mean the world to us and have put us in amazing financial shape for the hybrid season that we're in now, where we're presenting both in-person concerts and live-streamed concerts. The rest of this season, of course, will look very different, just as the first part of it has. And while we will certainly be looking forward to our annual production of Handel's Messiah this spring, I know for me, the holidays simply don't feel the same without the familiar arias and choruses of Messiah. And so now, I'd like us to take a little pause and enjoy a musical moment as Hannah Penn and Arwen Myers join us from last year's Pocket Messiah for one beautiful aria.
Like a shepherd
I love that aria. Messiah is one of my very favorite things, and it is such an interesting thing now to be just juggling our season a bit, and I know that the rest of the season is on everyone's minds. Single tickets will be going on sale on January 7th, and I did say single tickets because this year our subscriber package is looking a little bit different. Because of our ability and our need to be nimble for the rest of the season, everything will be a single ticket setup for the rest of the season, and subscribers will continue to get a discount. We'll be in touch with you more about that right before January 7th. The rest of the season looks spectacular, and I personally am so excited for each of our upcoming concerts. In February, Aislinn Noski and Gary Thor-Wado will join forces for Mendelssohn's Library. It's a program featuring the core orchestra that includes music that Mendelson had in his own personal music library, and featuring the very wonderful Hannah Penn, the mezzo-soprano you just heard in the Handel's Messiah clip. It's an incredible performance that I just can't wait to hear, and the play between Gary and Aislinn as they've been planning this, along with Jonathan Woody and Byron Schenkman, our other artistic advisors, has been a lot of fun to watch. They've gotten very excited about this project, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next, in March, we will have Voices Out of the Darkness, Bach Cantatas, and that program will be led by Jonathan Woody. Many of you may have stopped by the Oregon Symphony's recent Handel's Messiah, and you would have heard Jonathan performing the bass baritone soloist role in that project. The Voices Out of Darkness production will include wonderful singers of global acclaim, period performance experts, who will be joined by our fabulous PBO period performance instrumentalists for a program of early Bach cantatas and works by Pachelbel and Buxtehude. That project is especially wonderful in that it will be celebrating Bach's birthday, and the performance on Bach's birthday will be our first production at the beautiful new Research Center for the Performing Arts in Beaverton. Finally, our season closes out with an Easter Messiah, led by Gary Thor-Wado, and joining PBO will of course be our longtime and beloved partner, Capella Romana. Now, Messiah at Easter might feel a little bit different for those of us who are accustomed to the holiday rhythm of PBO's concert calendar, but what's really wonderful to me about this production is that Messiah was actually first premiered in April, on April 13th of 1742, so this will be just a few days prior to that for the 280th anniversary of Handel's Messiah. Again, tickets will be available on sale on January 7th, and we hope that you will join us for all of these programs. But if you are not yet prepared to join us in the concert hall, or if you live far away, we will be offering a free live stream for each of these productions. This hybrid model is our plan moving forward, and while nothing can replace the in-person concert experience, we know that live streams serve our community right now during the COVID-19 pandemic and give us a broader global reach. It is, of course, more expensive to do both. And so, now's the moment when I ask you to consider making an investment in PBO. Right now, we're in our year-end fundraising campaign, and you can help us by going to pbo.org/donate to make a gift before year-end, or really at any time. We are always grateful for your support. Not only will your donation continue to fund the rest of this season's wonderful programs, but they also set us up for the next chapter, our great future. And to that end, I know that top of mind for everyone is the artistic director's search. Now, we have been in this search for quite some time, and everything is happening right now behind the scenes, but there's quite a bit more to be shared in the coming months. And here to tell you a bit more about that is PBO's chair of the board of directors, the very wonderful Bette Worcester.
Hello, I'm Bette Worcester, chair of Portland Baroque Orchestra's board of directors. It's my privilege to be coordinating the search for PBO's new artistic director, and I'm delighted to share more about the process with you. As you know, PBO's longtime artistic director, Monica Huggett, retired this past June after a 27-year tenure. Monica truly helped put PBO on the map of period orchestras around the world. She is a pioneer of period performance, and the best way we can honor her extraordinary legacy is to ensure PBO's continued artistic growth. Planning for this transition has been in the works for some time, and although we experienced some delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the public phase of the search began in earnest this fall. We have engaged arts management consultants Martin Bragg and Associates to ensure a smooth process with a broad reach. Martin and his team are working closely with the search committee that includes a mix of PBO musicians and board members. Our first order of business was to define the role of the artistic director going forward and lay out our goals for an equitable search. As the individual responsible for our artistic programs and oversight of the orchestra, the new artistic director will possess an entrepreneurial spirit, a strong artistic point of view, and a desire to tap the talents of our orchestra and staff to grow our organization and develop our vision for in-person and digital programming. While no one can replace Monica Huggett, I'm pleased to share that we have had tremendous international response, and the caliber of candidates is just wonderful. The search committee will be interviewing several semifinalists in the next few months, and then plans to invite a small number of finalists to lead the orchestra during the 2022-23 season. Those concerts will be publicized as part of your subscription package in March. We'll continue to be flexible as things develop, and we'll keep you updated. As always, we welcome your feedback. I speak for the search committee when I say that we are so excited for what comes next, and we look forward to sharing more with you in coming weeks and months. It is a joy to be part of this with you, and we are grateful for your support. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Bette. And now we're moving into the Q&A portion of the program, and joining me here on set is PBO's Director of Patron Loyalty, Rachel Smith. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. So I think we have a couple questions that were emailed in advance.
Absolutely.
But I don't know that we've gotten any questions in the chat yet, so please feel free to go ahead and type your questions in now. We'll just wrap it up as soon as we run out of questions. So why don't we start with the ones that were emailed in advance?
Perfect. So our first question is from Paul P. He asks, will PBO continue to offer free live streams for the 2022-23 season?
Oh, Paul, thank you for asking that question. It is our plan to continue offering live streaming, and of course, we're trying to figure out a little bit about the revenue model for that. We want to make sure that we are offering broad access, but we also know, again, that presenting both is more expensive, and so we're exploring different models for that. We'll certainly keep you updated on our decisions as we move forward, and we welcome your feedback, and also for those of you who would like to keep the live streaming free and open to all, we welcome your contributions to fund that project. Thank you for that question.
Perfect. Our next question is, will PBO be returning to First Baptist Church downtown? Susan M. wants to know.
Oh, Susan, that's such a wonderful question. First Baptist Church has been our home venue for such a wonderful long time, and they are continuing to support us by hosting all of our rehearsals for our musicians prior to our concerts. We have a number of decisions to make regarding venues, and a lot of those decisions have, of course, to do with health and safety and accessibility. We're trying to assess a number of different options, and we hope that one day we can be back in First Baptist Church. We'll be reaching back out to our audience at some point this year to get your feedback about venues, what parts of town you find particularly accessible, and where you want to consume beautiful PBO concerts. It's a challenging thing in Portland right now as we all navigate the venue issue, and we prioritize health and safety above everything else. But of course, we're so grateful to First Baptist Church for our long-time partnership, and we love them very, very much, and we're so grateful for their support. And thank you all for your patience as we sort through this. It's a very tricky thing.
It really is. So our next emailed question, Barbara L. says, I'm a longtime subscriber, but we haven't been able to subscribe recently, of course. Will we be able to subscribe for the 22-23 season?
Barbara, yes, you will be able to subscribe next year. We are all in the office very eager to get back to a more normal mode of operation as well, and we are so grateful to our subscribers. You are our lifeblood. Subscribers of all arts organizations, your investment in our seasons early on allows us to plan and predict what our year is going to look like, to hire musicians early and make commitments that are, financial commitments before a season actually starts. So thank you for your longtime subscription support. And also, yes, we will be returning to a subscription-based model. We imagine that subscriptions will likely drop in the March-April timeframe. That always is a little bit flexible, and for an organization of our size, it's always going to just be slightly malleable as we confirm our musicians and confirm our guest directors, work to secure our venues, and make a number of decisions as we lead in. So thank you for your patience as we work through that, but also thank you so much for your loyalty and your support. Our subscribers are our partners, and Rachel, this is sort of your world. Is there anything else you want to share about our subscribers?
I am so ready to be able to get back to having our subscribers be people we see every month for concerts, be people that we can, we rely on them and they rely on us, and I really am excited to be able to do that again next season.
Yeah, and we also know many of our subscribers. We rely on seeing you.
Shout out to Bernadette in the chat.
Hey, Bernadette. We love our subscribers, and you are part of our community, not just the PBO community, but our personal network of the people that we've missed seeing during the shutdown. So we can't wait to welcome you back. And we hope we'll see you in February, March, and April, but if not, we do plan to relaunch subscriptions for next year.
Well, in the chat we have somebody who it's a comment, which is very nice, that the video productions this year were incredible. I hope we can see more of those. Absolutely. Yes, you will be seeing more of those video productions. As Abby mentioned, we will be live streaming for everything in the future as well, potentially, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, again, I want to emphasize that nothing takes the place of live performance. And for all of us who work in the arts, that experience of being in a concert hall where there's an energy exchange happening between those on stage and off, that is an extraordinary thing. That this is why we do this job, is because we love that. That being said, I'm so proud of the digital productions that we were able to create with our musicians all year. And one of the things that I loved about this was the ability to experience up close something that it would actually be kind of weird for you to get that close to Byron Shankman while they're playing the harpsichord, right? Like to be over Byron's shoulder and be able to see their hands, that would be inappropriate actually. But in digital media, we can do that, and we can show you a little bit more about the intricacies. And I think that's something special. It's quite different than live performance, and it will never subsume that as our core mission. But it means a lot to hear your positive comments and feedback about those productions, because they were a labor of love, and we are incredibly proud of them.
Absolutely. I have one last question that was submitted earlier. This is from Frank B. He asks, I'm feeling worried about the search for a new artistic director. Monica Huggett really put PBO on the map. How will we find anyone to replace her?
Frank, I completely understand where you're coming from. And I think first, before I get into the future-facing part of that question, there is no replacing any one person. There's no replacing an outgoing leader. And so I think what we need to think about is the succession plan. What is the next chapter of Portland Baroque Orchestra? And so what we are thinking about is, you're right, Monica put PBO on the map. And I think her legacy here is so exceptional. She took this organization to a place where it is, I think, the plum job in our industry right now. And I think what is going to be so exciting to watch is where this next leader takes that incredible momentum that she started. So I hear your concern, and I think that this is going to be a wild ride for all of us, but I am so excited to see where we go, and I hope that you'll be along with us for the journey. And I also hope that you will join us when we imagine having candidates come in and provide your feedback, because, of course, our audience feedback means so very, very much to us as we walk through this search together.
We have one more question.
Oh, great.
In the chat. This is from Bernadette. She asks, in a post-COVID world, will you be able to set up a paywall so those of us out of state or outside the U.S. will be able to enjoy PBO as we do?
That's such a wonderful question, Bernadette, and I think this is part of what we're exploring. So the question around paywall or not really is something that I think is a developing, it's developing technology right now. We could put up a paywall, absolutely, but I think one thing that we're trying to sort through is, would a paywall restrict access such that we're serving a smaller community and or not building our brand internationally? And I think that's something we're having to figure out as we go. We are definitely going to experiment with different things. We're going to be observing our peer organizations to see what works, what doesn't, what challenges arise. But the bottom line is that we want your feedback and we want your thoughts, and you all, as our patrons and our audience members and our most loyal advocates, many of you are seeing things that we're not seeing. You're out there consuming other video programs, or you're going to other concerts, and your kind of intel really helps us make decisions moving forward. So yes, we do want to make sure that we're serving a global community in perpetuity. I think the PBO deserves a global stage, and we are trying to figure out the best way to do that while providing broad access and, of course, protecting the financial health of the organization.
And I've heard some people, they've asked me about, will digital overtake an in-person sort of experience? And my initial reaction is no, I don't think so at all. Nothing will ever replace the electricity and the really incredible sparkling feeling of hearing live music. But I also think that, it's one of those things that we were able to reach almost 154,000 people who, we never would have been able to allow them to experience what we do. And I hope that it really does bring in those new audiences and those people we saw in the digital viewership graphic, that those people, if they live near us, if they're, ever visit Portland, that they can come and join the ranks of our folks in the hall to be part of that world as well, and, sort of transform those digital viewers into in-person.
Yeah, I think this is a both and kind of scenario, and I'm going to go ahead and say the thing that makes everybody here roll their eyes and laugh at me a little bit. I'm calling this the Beyonce model of audience development. I'm so sorry. Rachel's heard this joke so many times, but when you watch some kind of exceptional music video that has a high production value, it never makes you say, you know what, I've seen Beyonce now, I don't need to see her on stage. Or let's use Hamilton as an example. When Disney Plus released Hamilton, I don't think it's detracting at all from Hamilton ticket sales. In fact, I think it exposed a whole new group of people, myself included, to something that they couldn't imagine investing hundreds of dollars on buying a ticket for, right? Because, for many of us, choosing to purchase a ticket somewhere, that is us choosing to take a risk on something. So instead, we get to consume a little taste of this digitally, and then we think, I wonder what that would be like to be there in person. And that's when we buy a ticket. I think the other thing here, and we got a wonderful email recently from a patron in Klamath Falls, Oregon, who said that although he had attended a number of Portland Arts Organization events, he had never attended PBO, and then discovered us during the very first live stream in March of 2020, and has been keeping track of us digitally ever since. And I think that is one kind of success story, because then we are creating a broader audience for the organization and a loyal fan base for the organization, for whom a trip to Portland may or may not be accessible. And I think, again, it's a both and scenario, but I'm just going to say it again and again, nothing replaces the electricity of being in an audience experiencing live music, whether the music is Beyonce or Portland Baroque Orchestra.
Either way.
Same.
That's fine. I don't have any more questions coming in the chat. Yeah.
Great. Well, if you have any additional questions or you'd like to just check in with us and see how we're doing, please feel free to email us at email@pbo.org. That email will make its way to whichever staff member needs to answer your question or comment. And in the meantime, thank you again for your support, for your patronage, for your advocacy, and for joining us for this Patron Town Hall tonight. It means the world to us to have you as part of our community. Happy holidays and good night.